Man, come on in and have a seat, relax your feet, and beat the illest podcast you done heard all week. Hey, this is no holds barred. I'm talking freedom of speech, so check your feelings at the door as we continue to speak about war, sex, love, and relationship, and even conversations about politics. A little bit of comedy and knowledge, man. We're the host to teach you all about empowerment. Now what we doing? We're chilling in the chat house. And where we at? We're chilling in the chat house. Now what we doing? We're chilling in the chat house. And where we at?
This episode of Chat House was brought to you by Battle Zone Boxing, where you don't have to be a fighter in order to train like one.
Welcome back to the Chat House. I'm your host, Kenny Mobb, and I hope you're having a great, wonderful, productive day. Today's guest, Mr. JB, aka Battle Zone Boxing, he's going to be joining us today. He's a sports trainer, mentor, community leader, business owner. The list goes on. Had the pleasure of knowing this gentleman for years. He's going to bless us with some knowledge today. So let's just give him a call. Mr. JB, aka Battle Zone Boxing.
My man.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm real good. How about yourself, sir?
I'm pretty good. This is Ken from the Chat House.
Yes, sir. So glad to hear from you, Mr. Moby. It's a pleasure and honor.
Okay. So we had a conversation or discussion earlier discussing the word discipline. Conversation became very complex and diverse, and we felt it would be a good idea to bring it to the Chat House today.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Okay. So, you have years of working with young people. Actually, a variety of people, to be honest with you. Due to you a boxing instructor, correct?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
And a gym owner as well.
That's right.
So, discipline, in a sense, is your business.
Yes, sir. It most definitely is.
When it comes to working out, weight loss, showing up to the gym, as scheduled, just having a proper mindset.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
So in your opinion, let's just break down the word discipline and what it means in your world, and then we just go from there.
Absolutely. First of all, man, I'm privileged and honored for you all having me to do this podcast, which is very important to me when it comes to doing something for my dear brother.
Oh, appreciate it.
Yes, sir. This discipline, it is a serious attribute, let alone being a word, because the word discipline, it's in its simplicity's form, it really means what not to do.
Okay.
It controls you. It tells you what you should not be doing. A better choice of words, correction.
Okay.
That is all discipline is.
Okay.
Correction. Before I go any in depth, like for instance, I want to eat that cake, but I know I gotta weigh in tomorrow. No, you can't do that. Well, I want to go over here, but I know if I go over there, I'm gonna be only probably 5 minutes late. You can't do that. So you gotta adhere to doing what you need to do, and discipline and hold yourself accountable.
And excuse me for interrupting, but discipline is not a bad word. I think people misuse the word discipline. They
misuse it all the time.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
And as you said, it's correction.
And correction does what? It holds us accountable. It readies us for accountability.
Mm-hmm.
So when you got to be disciplined and you can hold yourself from restraint for something, you got something going on. You're really standing for the word discipline, because this is my 24th year as a trainer, and when I tell someone to be here, this is the time we're going to be on, and I tell these guys all the time, females too. It's two things we got to be careful about in this world, and that's the time we spend and who we spend it on. So when I tell you to be here at a certain time, you need to be here at a certain time, or the time is going to bleed off into someone else's time.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone else is being disciplined, and you are being undisciplined, I can't honor that.
Boy, I sure hope they listening to this. And this is not just, in your gym. This is a lifestyle when it comes to you wanting to be successful.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Um,
Absolutely.
and
Lifestyle.
and we can go as far as relationships. Of course, got self discipline, but I mean relationships, even being on your job or even if you own a business, there's a certain level of discipline you should have.
Absolutely. When you say relationships, relationships, boyfriend, girlfriend, marriages,
Mm-hmm.
business partnerships, best friendships, or even light acquaintances.
Mm-hmm.
Discipline, discipline resides in everything. Because in business partnerships, you ain't got no business doing no undercutting hand,
Mm-hmm.
cutting no deals behind your partner's back.
Self
If you got
control.
to do something, that's right. There you go. Again, the root discipline.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime you got to do something behind somebody's back, or you got to double think is you really doing something wrong, you ain't got no business doing it. Now it is a such thing as thinking twice or thinking long and hard about something, but we know when we shucking and jiving, over another individual,
Mm-hmm.
and just mishandling morale at its finest.
Mm-hmm.
So discipline plays a lot of attributes in our everyday lives that every man, woman, and child should be nurtured with, because it starts out as a seed. Because
Mm-hmm.
you can tell by the fruit. See, a lot of times we just look at the fruit and we don't look at the root.
Mm-hmm.
Or when we see children out here doing what it is, or even young adults doing what they're doing, and we just say ain't no home training. Well, it's more than home training, because when you say home training, sometimes I can just start, at your auntie house or something. Home training mean from your dad and mama, unless you just unfortunate like that. That stuff starts from, put that down when you 1 years old, 2 years old, because when somebody cares about you, they will instill discipline in you.
Mm-hmm.
But when no one says nothing to you, they don't care about discipline, which means that's going to end up to being what they call erratic behavior,
Mm.
something that just spontaneously do.
Right.
You get an emotion to do something, you just think you got the right to do it.
And I mean, even on social media, somebody do something to you in the real world, and the first thing you do is go to social media behind your keyboard where you're safe, and
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
you say things um, that are disrespectful, um, and it honestly, in my opinion, makes you look low. But I feel if you had discipline or even etiquette, you could take a moment, um, reevaluate the situation, have a real conversation with that individual only, and get your situation resolved. But like I said, no home training, no etiquette, no discipline. What do? We turn into a crowd pleaser, and you run out there and embarrass yourself and the other person. And I wouldn't even say the other person because you the fool.
That's right. Yeah. While you there, you said something very important. My pastor used to say something to this degree before he passed. He said, "Never argue with a fool in public,
Mm.
because the passerbyers might not know who the real fool is."
Mm-hmm. I agree with
So,
that 100%.
so when people run to the internet, what we call them, uh, computer powered gangsters, 'cause
Mm-hmm.
and things of that nature. When you run to the thing, first of all, make sure somebody care that you mad. And then another thing, Moby, um, you don't need validation. You need some counseling.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need a crowd. You run into the wrong thing to get some experience from, because the same people, when you come to to the computer or to the media with that type of attitude, unless there's someone who's willing to respond with some sense, you're gonna get the same ghetto mentality that you go into the computer for.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Which does,
um,
which ultimately does nothing for anybody. I don't care how many likes you get off of you being
that's
ignorant.
right.
To insult someone online, I think it's a coward move.
Yes, it absolutely is
There's
because
no
what
honor
people
in it.
don't take, you're right. What people don't take adhere to, once it's done, it's going to be over.
Mm-hmm.
Once a week is gone, it's going to be forgot about. Now it's time to move on to something new.
Mm-hmm.
But you think you were doing something so grand and glorious, you could have shot yourself in the foot.
Oh yeah.
Because when you say something, here's what we don't understand. But our mouth, um, you can't unring a bell,
Mm-hmm.
just like you can't uncast a stone. Look how God made this thing. When you say something, once a word exits your mouth, that's why people need to be careful on their job or whenever they be trying to embarrass somebody,
Discipline,
whether they're in an interview.
self-control.
Self-control. Because when you say something, you cannot take it back.
Right.
Now, that does not nullify it. You can be as sorry until you barbershop color pole in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And the person can even forgive you. Nevertheless, you still put some type of concern or some enmity in their heart to say, I wonder how long they've been feeling that way.
Mm-hmm. That's even in a
You know,
relationship.
yes, most definitely it is.
Yeah, yeah.
So
If you're in a relationship, and you say something to your, your wife or your boyfriend or whomever, um, that stays forever, depending on what you said, especially if it's degrading or
yes, it is. That's right.
you know. But it goes back to discipline and you being able to meditate to yourself and say, the situation isn't that bad. Let me have an intelligent conversation. Let me hear his side or her side, and let's get this resolved because we are in a relationship, which you should act as one versus the one.
Yes, yes. And while you're saying that, you got a lot of people who like to be argumentative.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
if you can't shoot down a solution without having a solution.
Mm.
If you do that, you are the problem and you are a part of the big confusion.
Mm-hmm.
So just because you hear a solution that you don't like, don't mean that it is not the right one.
Hmm.
It's probably not the right way that you wouldn't take because it is more than likely the one with the most decent morale and it's the right one. But a lot of times we always trying to ease, appease, and please everyone else's feelings. So we won't tell a lot of people what's right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which will a lot of times, if you tell somebody the truth, you could possibly stop that person from jumping off a bridge. That's just symbolic to you can really stop them from doing a lot of foolishness or making a mistake that they really probably can't come back from or
Mm-hmm.
return from.
Mm-hmm.
So discipline is being straightway, not deviating. And even though we do deviate in life sometimes because we all get weak, but nevertheless, when you are an adolescent up into a grown man or grown woman, there ought be some things you ought not allow in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some things that grown folks just ought not be doing. And then, turn them out and they want to turn around and say, well, um, he's still working on me. I'm only human. When people say they ain't perfect, those are just little weak leaves to say to treat people how you want to treat them and do what you want to do and just keep getting away with it and keep saying these old weak attributes.
It's like
I'm on,
a scapegoat.
you know, yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what it is.
And look,
So
and I want to show you how important and how deep discipline, self control means to humans, period, point blank, male or female. What do you think the Ten Commandments are? It's
that's right.
discipline. Those are God rules to live your life. Not stealing, not killing,
Hmm.
not going after your neighbor's wife. Um,
Right.
all of that rules to life. And, you got these people, they love to call themselves rebels and – they don't want to abide by the rules, but let me show you how important rules are. 'Cause, 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 'cause For anybody out there that has a job that you got to drive to, the only
Hmm.
reason why you get to that job on a daily basis is because you follow the traffic laws, which are rules. You stay in
Yes,
between
sir.
those lines. When that light turns red, you stop. When it turns green, you go. Those little markers on the side with the speed limit on there. The reason why they got them over there so you won't run nobody over or lose control of the car and kill yourself or kill somebody else. Those are rules that were put in place for your safety and other people's safety.
Yeah, that's right. Humanity.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. So when you see, people on social media saying crazy stuff, people in relationships saying and doing selfish things, that's what creates chaos in the world because people want to be rebels. They don't want to follow the rules, and it just creates a whole bunch of chaos.
Yes, it does. And confusion. And wherever those two things collide, there's no love and there's no understanding.
And it
So,
wastes a bunch of time. Let's add that.
absolutely. And confusion and understanding can't reside in the same house, just like love and hate can't.
Hmm.
One of them has to go.
I agree 100%. Don't to my young listeners, don't take things you hear in a song or things you see in a movie as reality. The things you hear in a rapper's lyrics, they don't even live that way.
Absolutely.
If you listen to gangster music, you
He do not be feared.
right, I guarantee you, Ti, Jeezy, Dr. Dre, um, any one of those guys, you have a conversation with their kids, they speak perfect English because their kids going to
Absolutely.
private school, they living in
And
gated communities.
and Moby, I don't mean to interject, but I don't know if you remember the artist MC8.
Yes, I do.
He stays in a gated community, and they had this conversation with him. My kids go to a private school.
Mm-hmm.
I rap like this because they buy the music.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they may have come up in somewhat of LA, type of behavior, and they transversed it to the mic, but they do not live like that.
Right. And you have to understand, um, the gangster rappers are they become they're artists, but they're also authors. If you if
Yes.
you, if you read a Stephen King's novel or one of your great horror writers, they don't live like that. They just write
No,
these
sir.
stories for entertainment
That's right.
purposes.
Absolutely.
And I have to say this to my young people and just my black community in general. Look at entertainment for what it is. It is to entertain you. That's it. You know,
Um,
and this falls up on discipline. If I'm able to look at something and cut it off there and go back into my reality, that's discipline. But if I
yes, it is.
but if I look at that and then I start dressing like this rapper, I start acting like this rapper, and I start doing some of the things the rapper does in his or her rhyme, and they don't even do it. Matter of fact, let's go back to Trina. You remember Trina with that song
Yes, sir.
"I Don't Know
Absolutely.
Now"?
Oh yeah.
Now you remember the
Yeah,
lyrics in
yeah.
that. I won't say it, but she talked about
Absolutely.
right.
They
You
have to
know,
show you.
right. I done been with 4 or 5 best friends and this and that. You don't know that.
Mhm.
You think Trina? Look at her interviews. You think she did that? But
It's
believe
the
it or
look.
not, you have females that actually done it based off of what this artist or author said in an entertaining format.
And if I may interject real quick, Moby,
Hmm.
I tell people when you want to portray a certain behavior,
Hmm.
look at the word act. You don't need you. We've been saying stuff so long in life, like, do you want to be in this relationship? Yeah. Well, you need to act like it.
Mm,
Hey man, you want to be in this business partnership? Yeah. Well, you need to act like it. Hey,
pretend,
hey,
pretend.
you want to be? Yeah. You want to be my friend? Well, you need to act like it. We have been telling people so long for years, and the word has been right under our noses without us even recognizing. We have been telling people to play a movie part in our life that don't really exist. Will Smith acts, with Denzel act, Ice Cube act,
Hmm.
Morris Chestnut acts. And what is that? Portraying a behavior on a film that they don't normally do every day.
Right. Or don't do
They
at
do that
all.
to get paid. So when we tell somebody to act like, we are telling them not to be their self. And that's not trying to be deep. It's just been a lot of simple things that has been under our noses all of our lives. And a lot of times the aha lights don't come on until, we're like older in life.
Mm-hmm. 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 Well, that's why I said meditate. When you're alone or when you're in a car riding, you take the time and you think about certain situations or certain events, and when you start picking it apart, you realize it is really not that bad. It really wasn't that deep. You
Right.
know, but when you get in the heat of the moment without having self control, discipline, you say things you don't mean, you do things you don't mean, and now that lives on with you for years and years
Yes.
down the road, depending on what you did or what you said, all
Yes.
because you couldn't muzzle your own mouth.
That's right. And that goes to I have seen a lot of people out of gas, out of opportunities, all because they wanted to be right.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know when to hush. They don't know when to bridle up because a blessing, an opportunity that you never even saw coming, now you done stunted it with your tongue. And
Mm-hmm.
that is the most powerful muscle on our body that we have, the tongue. It's not your arms, it ain't your legs. The most powerful thing on your muscle on your body is your tongue.
Huh.
It can get you out of some things just as well as it can get you in some things.
Oh, it'll make love and cause war at the same time.
Yes, sir. Just to show. Could have said it better. Like I remember once we were speaking, you know, discipline is the root, but we also, after you be disciplined, now you got to have some perseverance. Now you got to keep going with the discipline, and then you got to have some commitment. You got to be dedicated to the discipline,
Mm-hmm.
and then you got to be continually, consistently, repeatedly, and habitually with the discipline. So it just don't stop because you're gonna hit a lot of hot spots in life. And just because you hit differential places, don't mean that the discipline stops. It can't be discipline over here, but then you lose your mind over here. No, it's either all in or not in at all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because if we do something on this part wherein we're undisciplined, whether it be in the streets or in our home, we're gonna be dealt with.
Right.
Because anywhere we go, what I learned, anywhere we go, they're going, like you were saying earlier, there are some rules we're gonna have to be that's gonna have to be followed.
Oh, you
Living
have
in
to.
someone else's
That's why they have
house.
jail. That's why they have jails.
Yeah,
And
jail. Yes, that was
that's
my
why.
next thing. The jailhouse,
Yeah, that's why they have jails.
and, and it's the best to learn these things through people who love you rather than learn these things through people who don't care nothing about you.
Correct.
And what I mean by that, it's best to follow rules at the home before you end up in a jail home.
Mm-hmm.
Because those people just do it as a job. They go home to their family, and
Mm-hmm.
they come back and just do their job in and out. So discipline can take it, it can make you or break you.
And I want the folks to know, when we're talking about discipline, self control, that's in any relationship. That's at work. That's business. Even when you talk about health. When you're trying to gain wealth,
Yes.
education,
Yes, sir.
all of these things you have to have discipline and self control, and you have to be focused in on what it is you're trying to accomplish.
Absolutely.
You're going to get people in your life that's going to try to distract you and take you off course. You're going to have to be able to identify friends from foes or just people that's time wasters. They're not bad people.
That's
They're
right.
just time waste. If you got a goal you're trying to accomplish, you're trying to get this done in a certain time period, then you have to stay focused and disciplined to respect that time that you have sought for yourself.
Yes, absolutely. 'Cause that is the only way you're going to be. You'll see some commitment in yourself, and that people can see that you are reliable, especially if you tell someone you're going to do something.
Mm-hmm.
by your words, especially coming from a man, our words mean something.
Oh yeah.
And if you ain't disciplined about keeping that, man, you're looking for a big frame to fall apart and possibly fall into pieces. Because a lot of time for people who serious about a man word, a lot of time they only deal with you probably one time.
Mm-hmm.
And like what how the old saying go, ain't no second chance for a first impression.
True.
So being disciplined goes along with our words, our commitment, and the dedication will come behind the commitment. Because when you committed to doing something, you will do. And I always tell my fighters, we as a people, we only do things that is important to us. So you
Mm-hmm.
can turn your discipline on and you can turn your discipline off.
Yep.
And I always make this analogy to them. I say, if I told you to meet me at a 7-Eleven every Friday, 5 o'clock, and I give you $500, you gonna be there.
Oh
And
yeah.
all of them be like, yeah, coach, yeah, coach. I say, but if you be there 5:01, you ain't gonna get it. I say, which one you gonna make? Man, I be there. I say, because that's important to you.
Yes.
We are not gonna do what we don't want to do. That goes along with answering a phone, going someplace. I don't care if you're on your last leg of gas. We as a people in this world, we do what we want to do. We do what we feel that is important to us. That's how I know for a fact you could turn your discipline on and you can turn your discipline off.
Yep. I agree with that 100%, sir. 100%. I take a look at people, young, old, doesn't matter what race. And you sit back and listen to people talk, or you watch what people do, especially if they're in your circle.
Yes.
Most of the time, when people complain about things, they're not making the time or taking the time to get it done. They come up with a
Yeah.
they'll come up with a excuse quicker than they would a solution,
Yes, sir.
because that solution probably involves work.
That's right.
and
Yes, sir.
and that's what it boils down to. Even with obesity in America, it's because people got jobs that doesn't require a whole lot of work, and you sitting down 8, 9, 10 hours a day, or you're not moving around as much, and the gym becomes work in your mind.
Mm.
Or you get in a financial situation because you're spending more than you're making,
That's right.
because you're not being disciplined with or having self-control with your money. And I think
Yes.
and I think credit cards should be used for an emergency, but I think
Excuse
people end up using a credit card like as a debit card.
me. Yeah.
Again, no
Yeah.
self control, no discipline, and before you know it, you're 10, 15, $20,000 in debt, even sometimes more, all because you don't have that self control, and
Right.
you get yourself in a financial bind.
Yes, sir.
Even with relationships, I was speaking to a young lady, and she was saying that she's had good relationship with guys that had their stuff together, but
Hmm.
but she knows that she has at times purposely sabotaged it, because she wanted to be argumentative, or like the guy was disciplined and she wasn't. She ended up basically just going against the grain,
Yeah, absolutely.
and that individual is single now.
I'm sorry me to cut you off.
Mm.
A lot of times things happen like that, and they can know whether it be the woman or the man, but whichever one who's at fault, let's say that they will always want to pitch a pity tent and throw a party under the pity tent to
Yeah.
keep themselves from being accountable and responsible, especially by being an adult.
Oh, they want to play victim.
Yes.
Women and men.
Yeah.
You ask somebody about a breakup, I guarantee you they're gonna tell you what the other person did first.
And that's how we grew up. We always tell what our cousin did, but we won't tell what we did to keep from getting that whooping. And the whooping in an adult life is somehow somebody they're afraid what somebody gonna think, feel, or say about them.
Mm-hmm.
See,
Mm-hmm.
that's the whooping in the adult life.
Yeah, ruin
But
your
we'll always
credibility.
tell what
Yeah.
somebody else done.
But you want your credibility to be intact.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
I agree with that 100%. Yeah.
You just want to be, you want to feel or seem faultless to a lot of people, especially to the ones that know you. But we fail to realize that when we should be using those phrases, hey, I know I ain't perfect, but look, I did do this, you know. Sometimes we use those phrases so that we can just treat people how we want to treat them
Oh
and just
yeah.
keep walking over people's morale and just thinking that they insignificant, and we just do all kind of crazy things, you know, just without thinking.
Oh
We
yeah.
be thinking, we just don't care. Let me put it that way.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Um, and I think even when you got career goals, right? So let's say you're starting from zero. Doesn't matter where you're from. If you're from a trailer park, if you're from the hood, if you're from wherever, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's say you got humble beginnings, but you got high standards, or you got big time goals, right?
Yes, sir.
And you say to yourself, okay, I don't have the money, but I know if I get straight A's, I can possibly get a scholarship, right?
Right.
So you put in the work. You study versus hanging out, right?
Right.
You start getting all the necessary tools together to be able to be a great student, not a good student, a great student.
Yes.
And you're willing to work. So you do this and you end up getting a scholarship. You end up going to a respectable college, and you keep that same drive, that same goal, that same focus throughout college. And at the same time, you networking, you meeting people, you being honest with people, you being reliable with people, everything we talked about, right? You're doing that in college, right? So now you graduate, you get out, you get a fairly decent job, and you still trying to work your goal. Even those relationships you built in college, you might have somebody ahead of you that's in a position to pull you in the position you want to be in,
Right.
all because you a man or woman to your word in college, trustworthy, focused, driven. This person is on the road to success. You on the road to success. You start drawing other people around you that has the same vision, the same goal as you. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yes, sir.
I think eventually good energy is gonna attract good energy. Bad
Yes,
energy
it
is gonna,
will.
right. So
Oh man.
I think we all have to think about that. It doesn't matter where you come from. It really depends on how much work you willing to put in.
That is absolutely right. Absolutely right. Spot on. Your commitment, your dedication will say all. Nobody just goes up a hill by accident. That takes effort.
Yep.
And you can roll down the hill, but you can't say, "Well, I ended up here by accident." No, you have to go up a hill. Just like when we shoot for triumph, we shoot for goals and aspirations. We have to do things. We can't just sit around twiddling our thumbs, hoping and wishing on the couch eating potato chips. Talking about, I want to look like that. I'm gonna get that one day, but you're not doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
You're only disciplined to sit to a couch. You're not disciplined to be in motion.
That's why they say it's lonely at the top. When you made the example about it takes effort to go up a hill. That's why they say it's lonely at the top, because a lot of people don't want to put in the work to go up the hill,
Yes,
and that,
yes, yes,
and
yes.
that's all it is. Depending on if that's a hill or a mountain,
Hmm.
because some of your goals may be mountains, but it can be conquered in time. Plan the right strategy, even having the right group of people around you.
Absolutely.
One of the worst statements I think we as black folks make is, "I'm gonna keep it real," right? Why would you
Yes.
keep it real with somebody that's not even thinking about keeping it real with you, or wouldn't
Mhm.
sacrifice, or wouldn't dedicate themselves or dedicate their time to you?
That's right.
Think about it now. A lot of people don't reach their goals because they stand true to something or something that don't give a damn about them. And it's not
They
going
remained they remained what you call steadfast. They they
to.
they, they did not waver. They stayed the course, which is what a lot of people can't do. And I shared this with some of my fighters one time. I say, just because you spread your wings and you let them dry and choose to soar high,
Hmm.
it is not your responsibility or duty to be blamed or feel blame on the ones who chose to stay with wet wings on the ground.
Mm.
That's not your responsibility. So when we make again discipline, we make choices and we make decisions. And when we make them, we God made us free moral agents. He gave us free volition to pick and choose whatever it is we want. So therefore, when we do those choices and decisions, we can't say nobody put a gun to our head.
It's something you want to do.
That's right. And again, discipline. You gonna be there. People are dedicated to foolishness, or they either dedicated to righteousness. You know, when
Hmm.
I say righteousness, I'm talking about doing something that's productive in the world, that's gonna build, bless, and benefit other people.
Hmm. That's like if you take a look at social media, and I mean just taking your thumb and just going through the threads, and you look at some of the things people look at, like a comment on. There were a lot of people big on watching those fight videos. I hated them. I hated them, like watching those fight videos.
Yes.
And what they don't realize, the same people that's looking at these images, a lot of them, at work or have jobs or whatever, and they don't
Mhm.
realize their employer, when they get ready to hire people, they sometimes see these videos too. The
Absolutely.
only problem is the
Absolutely.
people in the videos look like you. So when
Yes.
you want, see, that's what I'm saying. You gotta be careful what you support.
That's right.
You,
That is absolutely right.
you know, keep in
As well
mind,
as what you comment on.
yeah, like you gotta look at what you support. Like those fight videos you see, like these young people fighting, especially people of color. Like you sitting there
Yeah.
watching that, and you keeping it going through the thread. You're allowing it to grow through the on social media. Your employer, somebody might end up seeing that stuff too, and they get in their mind, oh man, black people, or Hispanic people, or whomever, like they always fighting each other on social media. Oh man, and then you don't realize, just like how you say you can say something and that stays with a person,
Yes, sir.
they can
Yes, sir.
see, they see that, especially if it's a trend of the same type of people over and over again.
Right. Right.
Be careful what you support.
Because when you hear about a lot of shootings, first thing go through my mind is we ain't got no regard for life.
Oh yeah.
And there's the other first thing
Going
also
back to
goes through my
discipline,
mind.
isn't that part of the Ten Commandments? Thou should
Yes,
not kill.
yeah, that's right. And here's the thing: a lot of people don't know. If you obey the first four commandments, you automatically obey the last six.
Give it to him. Give it to him. Give it to
If
him.
you obey the first, thou shalt not have no other god before me, for I'm a jealous God.
Okay.
Thou shalt, thou shalt not kill.
Mm-hmm.
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
Mm-hmm.
That thou shalt not steal
Mm-hmm.
or covet thy neighbor's wife.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first five. You
Yeah.
start at the first four. If you obey the first four, you automatically follow the last six.
See,
But a
people don't know
lot of
that.
people, yes, sir. Yes, sir. A lot of people do not have no discipline because they erratic, man. They just
And
act off of combustion,
and
emotion is what they act off of.
and I want to say that when people want to live the ghetto life, it's like you you take a look at that. Now you take any person that came up in the hood, trailer park or wherever, and then you give them a business. I guarantee you, those same people would not hire somebody that's outright like that, because your
No,
business will fail
no,
if
they
you,
won't.
right. Let's just be honest about it. And I've got family that came up in the hood, and there's been times that we get into a debate, because I don't argue, But we get into a
Okay.
debate, and I'm like, listen, you're in a place that you can never own. Yeah, you were born there, you call it your home,
Hmm.
but that's something you would never own.
Yeah.
If right, if your mom or whoever's in control, or when you get the right age and you have discipline and self control and you have goals and you have a vision to be greater than your environment, right? And this can be a difficult thing because you're getting taught that this is okay and this is home and this is life and this is your reality. That's why it's good to go outside your community. So
Yes, sir.
because I know for me myself, I came up in the country and I would watch TV shows and movies and I would see different parts of the world, and I decided for myself I want to go travel. I don't want to stay here where opportunities are low, right?
Right.
So
Hmm.
I made that decision for myself at a young age. And I remember, JB, when I got ready to go to college in Nashville, Tennessee, I had cousins that literally said to me, why you going way up there? What you going up there for?
Mm.
And at the time, I'm working at a factory where it's just a few steps up from the cotton field. It's just got a roof,
Mm.
but you still got people controlling you and people telling you what to do when to do it, in an aggressive way, in a
Mm.
disrespectful way at times.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, I want to educate myself because education is a tool that can fix your financial problems.
Yes, sir.
You see what I'm saying? So,
Yes, sir.
so, so, so I did that, and then I came back home for a few months, and it's the same old. It was the same old crap. Like nothing changed. And so that's when I decided to come to Florida. And I remember a couple of more cousins and family members were like, "Well, why you want to go down there? This and that, blah blah blah." Basically saying to me, "This ain't good enough for you."
Yeah.
And guess
Yeah.
what? No, it's
Nope.
not.
That's right.
I couldn't say that
No,
to
no, no.
them at the time,
Right.
but the truth was, no, no, it's not. And to anybody listening to this, if you're in a community that you don't feel safe, you're not happy, you're not comfortable, you feel like your life is in danger, make plans to move.
That's right.
You're not bound there. You don't have to keep it real, but no, move.
And I second that. This keep it real thing ain't but three things you got to keep it, young folks. That's keep it short, keep it simple, and keep it moving. Real comes from your heart.
Yeah.
Reality is what we already know, what we live.
Mm-hmm.
Stop all of that foolish talking because you got a lot of people who say those terms, I'm real, I'm solid, I'm 100, this is what and they think what solidifies that is because they say it real loud.
Yeah.
All I got to say to that is you a real loud, solid 100 fake. Because a lot of times you ain't got to tell nobody if you real or not.
You can see it in its spirit.
They will see it by its fruit.
Yeah. You can just see it. You can see that's like people with money, people without money. You can see a guy walk in the store with a t-shirt, cut off jeans, and some boat shoes.
Hmm.
But the way he carry himself, you could just tell, and even like
That's
the,
right.
the conversation he or she has, you
That's
know,
right.
and
Absolutely.
and I never forget this. It's like there was a lady, she had this Louis Vuitton Gucci purse, like one of them high end purses, right? Cost like $2,500, $3,500, right?
Yeah.
And I never forget. I guess a friend got into it with her. A lot of times when people get mad with you and they're not your friend, they're gonna tell you business.
Yeah. 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 That backstab you now.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, so and so got a nice purse, and he's like, yeah, she ain't got no money in it.
Uh-huh.
And that goes back to financial discipline
Yes.
and self control. Because if you're gonna spend that $2,500, $3,500 on a bag, and newsflash, it's just a bag.
It's vanity. That's what it is.
Exactly.
Vanity.
Yeah,
And what we
exactly.
don't realize as people, just like money. things are transitory.
Mm-hmm.
They will dwindle away. It's gonna go away one day.
Well, dude,
It dwindles away.
think about. I've seen people, and I know I'm finna step on some people's toes when I say this. I know people that drive high end cars
Hmm.
that got a wall full of Jordans and other exclusive shoes all over $200.
Mm,
I know people got jewelry in the thousands of dollars, and clothing and so on and so forth, materialistic things, and they all got it packed up, stacked up inside a apartment.
mm, mm, mm.
I shouldn't have said that.
Look, it'll paint a picture for some people because
Financial discipline. What's the goal here?
yes, yes. I mean, why would you go buy something expensive that everybody else is doing? Everybody like for a car. And I know people like cars. Me, I'm just a truck man. I always was an
Hmm.
SUV man.
I
But
like trucks.
my thing is, you don't know what you look like in it. No, I don't care what kind of rims it is. And to the young folks, I'm not saying that it's not okay to have good things. That's fine.
Hmm.
But when you become those good things, when you let those good things drive you, then that's not fine.
Hmm.
Because number one, in order for you to get good things, you have to be grateful for the lesser things.
Hmm.
For instance, you don't know how you look at a car unless your homeboy or your homegirl take a picture with you and you look at the photo. All you know is that you driving the car.
Hmm.
You looked outside of the car and chose because the car looks good on the outside.
You know,
You really don't know what you look. All you really want is to get from point A to point B. That's what you want.
matter of fact, as you was talking, you prompted a memory of mine. Um, I was working a job where the round trip was around 60 something miles a day, right? Around 60, like 30 something miles one way, 30 something miles back home.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? So, so I opted out to get a car that I knew the engine was notorious for holding a lot of miles,
uh-huh.
and at the same time wasn't bad on fuel. Makes sense, right? Because the goal is it's not how much money you make, it's how much you save. So
Yes, sir.
the key to wealth for anybody listening is how much money can you save. All right. So I was like, I didn't care what the car looked like. I just needed something that was good on fuel and the engine was durable, right?
Yes, sir.
So I accomplished my goal and I even got it uh, at a price where I could pay for it cash.
Right.
All right. So I got three goals accomplished with this car. It doesn't matter what this somebody laughing at me because my car is in a certain name brand. I did the research on the durability of the car, the fuel efficiency of the car, and even the functionality of the car because I have kids and I don't mind if my son doing soccer and he got muddy boots on or um, we stop to a place to get something to eat and they got to eat real fast and they what I'm saying like the car
Yes.
works, it actually makes sense and actually work well for me. And to this day, the car's still starting up, humming along, don't smoke, don't knock, and still doing good on gas.
Moby, if I may interject real quick,
Oh, please do.
listen, man. Me and my wife had looked at a car because I got in an accident with a little Santa Fe I had,
Mm-hmm.
and said we need to look for one. So I was getting some tires, and we're looking on the thing. We say, here's one right here for 2,500. Well, it was at the guy who I usually do the get my tires from.
Mm-hmm.
White camera that I got now, one of the old good kind. It's a '01. Got it, and man, when I tell you, I call it little Nelly Bell, old Betsy.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it has gotten me and these fighters to every fight that we have needed and wanted to
Mm-hmm.
go to.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
every time somebody say, "Hey, man, I bet that's good on gas," I say, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." I say, "But here me go, Kenny. I want me a high country, a Chevy truck."
Right, right, right.
So, are you ready for that gas? I said, man, I don't care nothing about no gas. If I get something, I don't care if I got to put $5 as long as I get to and from. But the thing is, I am so appreciative of this car. Love it to the heavens. Never have had the only problems that I had with it is because it was sitting and I changed it. It's almost like a brand new car.
Mm-hmm.
Never has given me any problem other than it already had been sitting,
Right.
bridle and brittle and changing the hoses.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing, the car has treated me so good. I want to give that car to somebody one day.
Mm-hmm.
One of my trainers said, you should let somebody earn it.
Yeah.
I said, okay, well, whichever spirit handles me first because I do want to give it away. But I tried to tell one of my guys that he's so crazy about cars. I say, if you pull up the only difference is you pull up through a Burger King in a Mercedes, and you pull behind in your personal car, the same thing is gonna go in that Mercedes and out of that Mercedes as the same thing is going to go in your car
Right.
and out of your car.
Right.
Money gonna go out and food gonna go in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There is no difference. And
What?
again, I am not saying that there's nothing wrong with having good things, but when you are more into the things than you are into more than doing what it takes to good things, then you don't want too much of a good thing.
Well, I think also a problem is you end up sacrificing money you don't have to impress people that don't like you anyway.
Anyway, yes,
I'm just
right,
saying, like let's just cut to the chase. You buy a BMW or a Tesla or a high end car, but your bank account is really like you say, like a 2000 Camry.
don't say that.
You understand what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
your bank account don't say that.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So that's where the problem come in at. It like if you buy a car and can afford it, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right?
But the problem is we're talking about financial self control and discipline, and you
Yeah,
and you doing things to impress other people that don't even like you or don't even care nothing about you. That's what
right.
we're talking about. And a lot of people do those things, buy those high end things, to make themselves feel good.
And
And
for what?
right, and it goes back to that saying, you should make money. You shouldn't make money shouldn't make you.
Right,
So it's the
absolutely.
same thing with materialistic things. If you put them Jordans on your feet make you feel complete or feel like a better person,
Hmm.
and then it's not the shoes, man. It's something that's going on with you.
That's right. It is. It
Right.
is because I heard this guy say, yes, I can afford that. He said, but why would I go buy $100,000 car to impress somebody, to show somebody that it costs more than theirs,
Mm-hmm. And
who
that's
I
what I'm
don't
talking about.
even who I don't even know? What is the need of doing that? And a lot of people don't realize cars. It just mean it shows status. So when you get something that's out of your price range, you trying to tell some people you really wish you had this and you already don't really got it. But
Mm-hmm.
what they gonna look and they gonna think you got it. But from what you already know, you wishing you had this. You have no idea the false story you telling, let alone the hurtful financial and the burdensome you putting on yourself.
Mm-hmm. And then and think about this too. For any guy that spending a lot of money on cars to impress women or to attract women,
Uh-huh.
a lot of times the women that they get, it doesn't work out because you don't have what they think or what they thought you had. You see what I'm saying? So you pull up in a brand spanking new Hellcat
Uh-huh.
or brand spanking new Escalade. One of them 80,000, hundred
Yeah.
thousand dollar cars, which is ridiculous in my book. I don't care if I had $1 million. That's still a lot of money. But so the girl was attracted to you pulling up. She's attracted to you coming, picking her up, taking her on a date, riding around in your high end car, But then as time goes on, you're gonna get tested.
That's right. That's right.
You're gonna get tested.
That's
And
right.
and when she wants certain type of jewelry, a certain type of purse, a certain type of shoes with a certain type of color underneath those shoes, and you can't foot the bill, she's out of there. Because
Man, man.
you, you see, and this is why people get in bad relationships.
Oh gosh, you hit me, boy.
It's
Because when a person, I'm so sorry, man. I just one more time.
do it.
When a person only shows you what they have, you know what? You deserve what they end up giving you
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because you presented what you thought or what you knew that they only were into. Okay, what else comes after that? You did not, again, you did not have self discipline to have yourself in a situation, whether it be manhood or womanhood,
Put in the work.
uh, to be maturely set so that you don't be worried and concerned about these childish things.
Yes, there it is. There it is.
They lost discipline long time ago.
Yeah.
Because when they see what another person doing and they see what everybody doing, and they see what a lot of people are attracted to, they want to go out and get it. I don't. Me, I'm not sorry, but I don't fit into circle holes. I'm a square, so I'm not going to try to force myself to fit in your circle.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm a real
And I know that to
SpongeBob when it
be
comes to
and,
things.
and I know that to be true about you. I know that to be true about you. You like what you like. You do what's comfortable for you and your family, and that's what I always admired and respected about you because
Thank you, sir.
you did the most sensible thing. Even when you were you made a decision to become a business owner and own your own gym.
Yes, sir.
You know, we had some private conversations about what it would take to make that happen, as far as but
Right,
you had to discipline yourself because I remember you doing a lot of overtime. I remember
right,
you saying, "No, I can't do this now because I got to do this and I got to be at work at a certain time." This and blah blah blah. But you put in the
right.
work because your goal was to be an independent business owner, and it costs money.
Yes, sir.
And you created that and was able to put your resources together to make it happen. But all of that goes back to financial
Just
discipline, self control, focus,
yeah.
dream, drive, and you had the right people around you. I know a lot of your trainers and a lot of people that are around you. You already had a long term relationship with them, so they already
Yes.
respected you. They knew what you was about, and just everybody on your team was a perfect piece of your puzzle.
Yes, sir.
So
Absolutely.
so and that's even one of the reasons why I wanted you to speak on discipline, self control, because that's the heart of your business. Because if people come to you for weight loss, that's what they have to have.
Yes, sir.
They have to
Absolutely.
they have to show up on time. They have to do the little workout routines. Even control how much they're eating, so on and so forth. So that's the heart of your business.
Yes. And one thing I want to really add, Ken, when you talk about discipline,
Hmm.
um, you don't judge people for how they look. Let me tell you something. I had two pair of shoes. I still got them now. Well, no, I just threw them away over the weekend.
Hmm.
I wore them for 4 years.
4 years.
4 years. They got a hole in the bottom. The bottom was run down, and there was a blue and like a highlight fluorescent green, and the other one was fluorescent green and black.
Hmm.
When I tell you it had holes in them, it just started coming in them, and I'm like, I just kept going because I was so tired, and I was only using them for the gym.
Hmm.
So one of my fighters had put some shoes online. Say anybody know anybody need some shoes? I can donate them. Please come get them. And then my wife said, you see what TJ got on the line? And I checked it out. I said, yeah, bring him to the gym. Man, how about I got me a two pair of Reeboks that look, man, I can't even tell you how they look. I wear one pair to the gym and wear one pair as casual because, I'm a boot man. I wear some Crocodiles or some,
Mm-hmm.
I used to wear Timbs and stuff like that. But it just goes to show you, not only was I disciplined, but I was complacent as long as, the whole half of my foot wasn't hanging out
Right.
because I only went to work. And when I get off work, I go straight to the gym. And some things, man, I tell my fighters is sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
Sacrifices, giving up something of value to receive something of greater value.
Mm-hmm. And I want to say to
Uh,
anybody that like buying Jordans or any female that like buying designer purses, your Louis Vuitton, your Gucci's, just so on and so forth. If you take that same money and you buy into Tesla stock or Amazon stocks, you'll be surprised the kind of money you'll have in a few years.
yes, because other than saving, residual is a good thing to also
Yes.
get yourself into. You
Yes.
want that stuff to keep coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Rainy day is good, but when it start pouring, stuff is still making its own money.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start saving that way, you can get something off of that or get enough in savings so that you can buy something that can cause a residual
Mm-hmm.
effect.
Mm-hmm. Of course. Of course. I mean one time I had invested in I think it was Amazon. I think it might have been Amazon stock. And a situation came up where I needed the money to do whatever, right? And
Mhm.
I had the money, and the money had grew from the investment, and I was able to make that deal happen based off of me putting the money, investing the money in that stock option.
Right.
And that's what I mean. Um, Educate yourself about stocks, long term versus short term.
Yes.
Um, Even rental properties, or even start your own small business, because you, 9 times out of 10 you're not gonna make $1 million on somebody else's job. Let's just
Nope.
be honest.
Nope.
Unless you're
Nope.
executive person that you actually go into the owner's house.
Uh-huh.
Those are the kind of people that retire with millions of dollars from a company. But
Right.
but my point being, don't be afraid to educate yourself on extra income and investments, because take a look, everything around you has gone up 4, 5 times what it's really worth.
Yes.
Think about the neighborhood, JB, you came up in, or even just the state we live in. There's houses that I know 2 or 3 years ago was 200, 300,000. Now they 5, 6, and $700,000 for the
And that's
same
a
house.
bathroom and a shower and a microwave.
Yeah, but that's
You're
what I'm saying.
absolutely right.
That's what I'm saying. So we're gonna wrap this up, and what I want to say for our close is, discipline is not a bad word. Discipline is something that was given to you or presented to you, even in a biblical sense. It's something that can help you grow. It can
That's
help.
right.
It's something that can help you stay focused, and it's not just. It goes from your kids to adulthood to relationships, business, you name it.
Absolutely.
If you're able to stay focused, and put yourself around the right people, you'll be fine. So, Mr. JB, before we go, give us your final thoughts on
My
discipline,
final thought, my
and self
final,
control. Yeah.
yes, sir. My final thoughts would be, young folks, do not pass up. Um, don't settle for a $50,000 or $60,000 a year job and miss your $1 million gift opportunity. We have to remember, um, everything is a seed. And it's just like if you plant one apple seed, you're not going to get one apple back. You're going to get an orchard,
Mm-hmm.
many of apples. And in many of those apples are going to be many seeds. So whatever you discipline is going to multiply. And that's why I'll digress right there, Mr. Mob.
Okay. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we was talking to James Battle. He's a business owner. He owns his own gym. Battles on boxing. Um, he is a mentor. Um, just all around great guy. I like him. So,
Bless your heart, man.
so,
Likewise, you, my dear brother.
so
I
Mr.
remember when
Battles.
you first got down here, man. I remember. I think, if it's safe to say, I was the first one you met when you got down because your uncle was bragging about you,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been 2001 when I met this gentleman,
Mm-hmm.
and the friendship has been a long time ago turned into a brothership.
For sure, I agree 100%. And we actually both enjoyed music. We enjoyed writing it and creating it.
Absolutely,
And that's actually how I met Mr. Battles was in the music industry.
yes, sir.
One of the most potent guys to this day.
Yeah, it's your home.
Yeah. So, but we appreciate you, Mr. Battles.
Absolutely, I agree. It's a privilege and honor and opportunity for you even wanting me to have on your podcast. I'm so privileged to be casted on this thing in its beginning stages, sir.
Appreciate it. So, Mr. Battles, we appreciate you. We celebrate you, and thank you for stopping by the chat house.
Likewise, you and yours, brother, and wish you the best of success. And I wish that you have me on in the later future.
For sure.